My name is Joseph Johnny. I am a GoHighLevel automation workflow specialist, and in today's video, I'm going to be building out an appointment workflow and automation, which will go into a pipeline once a customer books an appointment. So I'm going to be doing this from scratch. Okay, so I'm going to be using this pipeline I call test pipeline. This is where I build out my test automations for clients, and I'm going to be creating a new workflow. So we're going to be doing this from scratch. All right, so now we have a workflow. We want to do the first and most important thing before you start building out your workflow is to give it a name. So we're just going to call this appointment booked. Okay, and ideally you want to write the name of the calendar in case you have more than one. My calendar is called Joseph's calendar because that's my name. So I'm going to save this. And next we want to set up the first step is a trigger. We want to select a calendar. So whenever a customer books an appointment, this triggers that step. So we select a trigger and we want to choose appointment trigger, which is this one here. We can select customer booked an appointment, and then, we're just going to add a filter, which is going to be to select the particular calendar we want. And then when we do that, we're going to choose the calendar, which we're going to be using my calendar here, which is Joseph's calendar. And then we're going to save trigger. Now, once we do this, we'll move on to the next step, which is to start setting up the information that goes out and the process through the workflow. So first we want to select our first step, which will be to send an internal notification the moment an appointment is booked. We're going to select an email notification here, and we want to call this email notification. Also, it's important to label our steps to help identify which is the appropriate notification that goes out to clients. So now we're going to name this, and we want to use the location name as the name that sends out this email. So you just got to go into the custom values here and select location name. And from the email, we also want to use the locations email, which will be the default. So we select that here. And then who does this go to? So this can be to a particular user, or everybody in the sub account get notified. So we'll select all users for now. And then we want to go all the way to select a subject for this email. And we want to call it customer booked an appointment. Booked an appointment. And here we can, we can choose the name of the calendar, or we can just put the full name of the customer, which is what I'm going to do here. And then we have to put a message, and I'm just going to say new appointment has been booked. And down here, I'm just going to put in the name of the customer, the phone number, and the email address. And that way, I'm also going to use a custom value to attract whatever information the customer puts in. The phone number, the email, and everything is going to show up accordingly because I am using the customer's custom value, which the system is going to recognize when they fill a form. So, and also, I'm going to put the date here, the appointment dates, which is important, right? So, that for doing that, you also come and get the custom values. You go to the appointment, and then you select the start date and time. This is going to fetch the date and time selected by the customer, which is also very important. So once we save this, we have our email notification going out. Next, we want to have our email that is sent to the customer, which is again very, very important. The moment someone books an appointment, we want them getting an email. So we're gonna, set that up here, and we're gonna select the customer details. First, we want to do the same thing. We want to select our locations name and our locations email. You can also customize this the way you want, but ideally, you want to use the locations information so that, however, whenever you change it, it always comes back to this. All right, so for the subject here, that goes out to the client. You want to maybe your appointment is confirmed. Yeah, and we can put that here. And then down here, we want to write an email that goes out to the client. So we can say hi, and then we want to use the contact's name. Again, we're using we're using the default values from the system. So it recognizes whatever the name of the person that fills the form. So, and I'm just going to write, thank you for scheduling an appointment. Here are your details. Okay, and now we just want to put date. Okay, I'm going to put in the appointment date. So we're going to start with that and select appointment and date and time, which is going to put out the date and time, and then the appointment link. So here we can use a link that comes out of the system that we have set up from the back end. So if we do that, we also, under appointments, we just go to meeting location and select that, and then that pops up. So the customer is going to receive this information in their email, which makes things smoothly. All right, so we say we look forward to meeting you on the call. Okay, and then you can say thank you, and you can use your location name as the you can use your location name here as the name of the business that's sending out this email. Okay, and now we're just gonna save this action. Also at the top, we can call this email to client. Okay, so once we save, now we have our email notification. Once they book an appointment, a notification that comes to the team, and then an email that goes out. So that's perfect. And then next, we want to set up next step. Ideally, my suggestion is always to add a contact tag to every workflow. This helps a lot when trying to identify clients later or leads later on. So we're going to do that by creating a new tag. So I can call this appointment booked. Maybe I can add my name here so I know this is my calendar. And you can have a very long tag if you want. That's fine. So once we click add, now this becomes a tag in the system. Then we can save this. And then the next step is we want to put this contact into a pipeline. So once you select the next step, you can just select this, which says create an update opportunity. By creating an updating opportunity, you do the basics. They ask you, what pipeline do you want this to go into? I want it to go into my lead conversion pipeline. And what stage in the pipeline? I want this to go to an appointment booked pipeline stage, sorry. And then the opportunity name that shows up on the pipeline is the contact's full name, okay? The contact source as well. You can leave this blank, or you can just get the contact source from here, okay? Now for the opportunity value, you can put in the customer's value. Maybe you can create a custom value and add that here, or you can just leave this blank. And then next you select open to make sure this client shows up on the pipeline. And then you can save action here. And before you do that, again, we can also make this and write, you know, appointment book stage, which is the stage we want this to be added into. So you can save that, and now we have our appointment stage. All right, next we go into the next step, which is to continue this system by sending out reminders and all of that to the client and the team to remind everybody about the appointment that's to come. So to do this, we'll start with putting in the step called wait step. So when we click here, we select wait, and then we choose a specific time we want to wait. But we're going to use this first one because it's looking forward to an appointment that's scheduled already. So if you choose the scheduled time, they'll ask you, when do you want this to happen? And maybe we want our reminders to start 7 days before the appointment, and then 3 days before the appointment, and then 1 day before the appointment. So we select the amount of days, which is 7 days before the appointment. Okay, and we also can name this 7 days before appointment. And then we save the action here. And then after this is done, we go to the next step, which is to send out the notification and the email to the client again, sending the same notifications to the client and the you know to the lead and the team. All right, so we can start by sending out an email to the client and then sending out a notification. To make things quicker, I can just copy the email notification I had here and I can paste it here. And I can copy the email I sent to the client here and I can just paste it here. Okay, so now for the notification, I just have to come in and edit this notification, and I'll just say appointment reminder. See, and I can, use the contact's full name here. I'll leave the information and I'll just change the top. Reminder, appointment is in 7 days. And then I can save this. And then for the email that goes out to the client, I'm also gonna set it up the same. Just gonna leave everything and gonna change the subject. Now just say appointment reminder. Okay, and then we leave the information here, and they'll just say, hi, contact name, your appointment is in 7 days. And then put in the details, and we can leave the information as is. Okay, and always remember to save the progress, which is very important so we don't lose our steps. Okay, and then we're gonna continue from here. We're gonna repeat this process again, so I can just copy all actions from here so we make this quicker, and I can paste it here. So we're just gonna edit this information and change this to 3 days before the appointment. We want another reminder. We also want to change the topic, the title here, 3 days before the appointment. And then we do the same thing again. We have 7 days before the appointment, we have our email notifications 3 days before the appointment, and we have that setting up as well here. So, well, when we have our 3 days appointment, we just need to adjust the information here, appointment reminder, and we can just change this to 3 days. And for the one that goes out to the client, we do the same thing as well. We change the information, and you can edit this to your comfortable approach. But ideally, you just want to make sure that the information here is consistent. So we're just gonna set this to 3 days, and and then we're gonna, we can copy this whole action again and bring this down here and have this go 1 day before the appointments. So we just put it 1 day here, and also I want to fix the label here at the top. Okay, I'm gonna change this to 1 day before the appointments. Okay, and then we do the same thing where we, you know, so we can just say, okay, your appointment is tomorrow. Okay, so we can do this and also edit the message that goes out to the clients to make sure they get the same notification. Okay, and then the details, and yeah, send that. So by sending out email reminders, this improves the chances of a lead showing up for an appointment, increases success rates. So this is very important to have this whole step going through. So last, I'm just going to publish this process, and I'm going to hit save, and then we're going to try to run a test and see how this goes through the system. Okay. All right, so let's check out the pipeline that I have, my lead conversion pipeline that I have set up for this process. And we can see how it looks right now before we put in any information. So it's currently completely empty. It's currently completely empty, and I'm gonna make the first booking, and then we'll see how that goes. So here's the calendar built out. Today is June 15th. So I'm just gonna select a date, for example, June 18th, and I'll just select maybe let's say 10 a.m. We'll go with that, and then I'm gonna put in my information here. And so put in my name, I'll put in my last name, and then a phone number. Ideally, you can put whatever phone number you have. So I'm just gonna put anything here, and then I'm gonna put in my email, and then additional information that isn't as important, and then you can confirm to receive any information, and then last, we schedule the meeting. So once the meeting is scheduled, you get this information. You contact you shortly. We can go into our system to see how this has reflected and if our pipeline was successful. Okay. So as you can see, this worked out as planned. We have lead here, Joseph A. I just booked the appointment, and now I'm in the system. I chose June 18th at 9 a.m. and this is how it's gonna look. And then we're gonna go into the contact card, and we can see if the email went out as planned. Okay. Now, this is the contact card. Yeah, now this is the contact card, and that's the first email that comes out. As you can see, it's exactly as we set it up. Hi, Joseph. Thank you for scheduling an appointment. Here are your details. Date is June 18th, 10 a.m. And then the link. The link is blank because I didn't add a link. But this is how it looks, and account name and everything. This is my snapshot account, so that's why it shows this. Okay. And if you go into details here, we can click on that, and we can see that this message came from the workflow and went straight to the client. Okay. So we can go into the workflow and see what happened. Okay, now we're back in our workflow, and we can go through this and see that we can see what happened to the lead. Okay, so now we see the booking is currently going through the process, and if we can check our execution logs here, you can see what happened to this lead. So when we hit this, we can see what happened, and starting from the first step where the appointment was booked, added to the workflow. In the workflow, you can always see details of what actually happened, so that's a good thing. Okay, and then you can see that the email notification went out and that was sent to the team, and then the email to the client, which we checked out, also went out, and now the contact was tagged as designed, and then the contact was added into the pipeline as planned. Okay, because this appointment isn't in 7 days but rather June 18th, which is in 3 days, the process goes quickly through the wait stage of the 7 days and basically skips it. So it skips it all the way to the next stage, which it didn't send out the information. It didn't email the client that, hey, your appointment is in 7 days because the appointment is in 3 days. So the system skipped this process. And now it's waiting for the 3 day appointment trigger, which is if you go into the setup here on the building stage, if you go here, you can find the lead in the appointment flow. If we click on this, we can see the next trigger is going to happen on June 15th at 9 a.m. So this is just following the system, which is going to be exactly 3 days before the appointment. The next notification is going to go out. And then it's going to go all the way until the end, sending out the reminders and following up with the client to increase the chances of a show up. So this is how I put together my workflows. This is just a basic appointment workflows. I do a lot more complicated workflow, complex workflows than this. I hope this is well explained by me. Thank you.